Well, thank you very much. It's when Dave Ogren called, just like Karen, when Dave Ogren called, I was very humbled and very honored to be a member of this class, especially with the people involved here. I want to clarify something that Steve said a little bit earlier, and it was clarified in the tape as well. My first year at Colorado College, my freshman year, when the team went 0-26 or 0-23 or whatever it was, I wasn't on the ice because freshmen couldn't play. I played trombone in the band. And by the end of the season, and there's a couple of guys that were on that team that did play during the year. I won't embarrass them by introducing them, but by the end of the game, most nights, there was only one trombone player still in the building watching Colorado College. Red Berenson scored 5 goals one night against CC, and it was a memorable occasion. I had a special speechwriter tonight for my speech, and I'd like to have him stand up. My speechwriter for tonight was my grandson, Camden Sauer. Camden, stand up, buddy. Wave to everybody. He helped me with my speech, and you'll see as we go along here exactly what he said. The first thing on my list is thank you. And thank you to all the USA Selection Committee, Hall of Fame Selection Committee, USA Hockey, Dave Ogren, Digger, all the people involved there. This is a tremendous honor, tremendously to be involved with Ralph on the same stage. I've known Ralph since he was 17 years old. Tremendous player. He said more tonight than he ever said in 4 years at the University of Wisconsin. The second thing on my list is Ann and Dad. I'm not a Minneapolis guy. And for people in the room will understand what I'm going to say next. I grew up in St. Paul. We never really came across the river to Minneapolis. And maybe the biggest offensive to me is the fact that this banquet's being held in Minneapolis and not in St. Paul. But my dad, when I was young, my dad received a position at St. Paul Central High School as a football coach. Athletic director asked him if he would know anything about hockey. And Dad said, no, I've never skated. So my sister Ann, who is here, my dad and I all learned how to skate at the same time on a backyard rink about a block and a half from Como Lake in St. Paul. We never did come to Minneapolis. We never came across the river. We never came over here on a Sunday afternoon for a trip or anything else. Minneapolis to us was the other city. And I know people in the room understand what I'm saying when I say that about St. Paul. The next thing on the list that Camden put was family. And you can't do this without people that support you. Just like Ralph said, Karen, and I'm sure Lou will say the same thing. Family is so important. The best thing about grandkids is I'm seeing what my kids were like at that age because I was never home. We first started at Colorado College recruiting and stuff. You were always on the road recruiting. You didn't get home until Tuesday. You leave again on Thursday type of thing. You never were around your kids. And to have a wife like Jamie and what has been my family over the course of time and my 2 kids and so forth, it's just been tremendous to have the support. They were really disappointed when I stepped back from coaching because they knew the schedule I was going to be on. Once I stepped back, the schedule disappeared. And all of a sudden I was around a little bit more. And I don't know if that really, I know with my wife anyway, it was kind of, go do something else, will you? Get away. I'm a guy that stands in the background. I always have, and that's how I treat my players. I have a real quirk about team pictures, and for all the coaches out there and so forth, one thing about team pictures for me is that you can tell a lot about a team and a coach if you look at a team picture. It doesn't happen all the time. It's not every team, but at every level, professional, college, high school, whatever. Normally what happens is a photographer will come in and set the picture up. And who do you see in the first row, right in the middle of the first row? Normally they put a coach or a couple owners or a couple scouts and so forth in the front row. To me, that tells me that the focus of that team is on the coach and the coaching staff. And that's not what this is all about. Hockey's a team game. Hockey's a game for players, and they're the people that make you look good. They're the people that do the job for you out in front, and they're the ones that should be focused on. So to thank you to all the players and the number of players in the room that played for me over the course of time. Great guys. I loved every one of them like a brother. Maybe Chelios a little bit differently than all the others, because Chelly was a little bit, and I know Ken knows this, Chelly was a little bit different player off the ice. He had kind of a burr, so to speak, and some of the guys know what I'm talking about as well. There's also a number of players here that never saw the light. Didn't come to Colorado College or Wisconsin. I know Mike Kemp's here, recruited the heck out of some of the guys in the room, and it's amazing, from Paul Holmgren all the way through this room. And I won't embarrass some of the Minnesota guys that played here at Minnesota, but almost to a player tonight, they've come up to me and said, I always wanted to be a Badger. And for some reason, I will take that back with me to Madison, and we'll see along the way. Yeah, okay. There's also one quick story. There's a guy named Bob Mancini here. Bob Mancini was just kind of an average hockey player. In fact, Lou Vero sold him to me as a player. And Bob knows what I'm talking about, and all the guys that work with him will appreciate this, because Bob will get his chain pulled the rest of it. Bob scored one goal for us. He scored one very, very important goal. It happened in Madison, Wisconsin, Black Sunday, Colorado College. We upset the Badgers. We were able to go on next weekend to play Minnesota. The Badgers got time off. I told my dad on the way to the airport on the bus, I said, Dad, we're not going anywhere. Even though we upset the Badgers, and it was Bob's go-ahead goal to get us to that point, I knew, and people in the room that knew him, Bob Johnson was on the telephone talking to the NCAA selection committee. That year, Wisconsin went on to the national tournament in place of us, had to play Minnesota in the championship game, and Bob had the gall to ask me on the way over. We had defeated Minnesota 4 times that year. Had the gall on the way over to the championship game. What'd you do to beat Minnesota? Do you think I was going to tell Bob Johnson what the secret was? Speaking of Bob Johnson, I've had a lot of mentors in my life. The coaches that I've been involved with. My dad was sure wish he was here today, because he would be so proud of what the accomplishments that have gone on for myself and our family. Bob Johnson was a special person. People in the room that have played for him, have been around him and so forth. You'd lose a game 9-1. Johnny Johansson would come in and say you thought you won 1-0. That's the kind of competitor Bob was. Dave Peterson, Tim Taylor, guys that I've been around, Jack Parker, Ben Smith, the guys, it's just, the best part about hockey, folks, is it's a small community. Everybody knows everybody, and everybody, it used to be a lot of secrets. There used to be secrets, but now everybody's open and talks to one another, and it's really a tremendous, tremendous group of people. I've been around Big Ten football, been around Big Ten basketball and all of that. Joel Maturi has heard me say this many times. The fraternity isn't like it in other sports at the college level. Hockey's the best, by far. Bruce McLeod, WCHA staffs, Bruce, thank you very much for the kind words. It's an honor and a pleasure to work for you, and over the course of time, and give me the opportunity. Greg Shepard, the tape was a little wrong. I don't know if it was Chris Chelios or somebody said that I didn't scream very much and so forth. That's not true. And Shep will be the first one, because Monday morning I would always call him and ask him, why did he call this penalty, or why did they do that? And Mike Kemp back there, a poor guy, is about this tall, and every time a defenseman made a mistake, I'd run down the bench and overrun him, so to speak. What the hell's going on down there? And I don't know, Coach, I don't know. But coaches over the course of time are your lifeblood in terms of what's going on. Congratulations to the other folks that are inducted tonight. Carr and I followed, Ralph, of course. Lou and I have been friends for a number of years, and it's really been a pleasure to be involved. I want to introduce a real special group that I didn't expect to be here tonight, but they surprised me this afternoon. 45 years ago, I got involved with deaf, hard of hearing hockey players. And it was kind of first it was just a coach to come in and work for it. Now, over the course of time, I'm now the guy that's the head of the group and raising money and trying to organize things and so forth. We have a group in Chicago each year, and we've got a group of people back in the corner, and they're great people that have come in from that organization. They're the lifeblood of our organization. We've done a tremendous job helping kids that just want to be hockey players. The experience with the sled hockey team, and I don't know if Bob is still here, but I want to recognize Bob O'Connor again. Bob was one of our first coaches on the sled hockey side. Started these guys out. Ray Maluda and myself have reaped the benefits of where Bob and Keith Blaze and a number of other people at USA Hockey got the disabled section going with the sled hockey. It's been a tremendous thrill for me to be involved. Sochi was unbelievable. I hope that you have seen us, watched us play, and I hope you enjoy what you see. And lastly, and most importantly, thank you to everybody here. It's a tremendous family. It's tremendous to be a part, and all the people that have come up and congratulated all of us. I know we all appreciate it. Thank you for this great honor, and it's a highlight of my hockey career. And as my dad always said, I never had a real job, and the only job I really ever had was delivering a St. Paul morning newspaper one summer. That's the hardest job I ever had. Every other job that I've had in hockey and so forth has been easy because it's not working. It's getting up in the morning, going to work, and being involved. One other group I want to, very quickly, there's a guy named Dan Brennan, there's a guy named Guy Goslin, and there's a guy named Mike Eline out there that are on our staff with the sled hockey guys. A tremendous group of guys to work with, tremendous fun. And we're starting next Wednesday to get ready to defend a gold medal in Buffalo at the end of the year. So hopefully the sled hockey guys will do everybody here at USA Hockey proud. Thank you very much for this honor.